Do you want to maximize your success with NCUA? Join Mark Treichel as he shares with you the insider's view on passing your exam with flying colors. The With Flying Colors podcast is sponsored by Credit Union Exam Solutions by Mark Treichel. If you would like to work directly with the Credit Union Exam Solutions team and receive support to optimize your results with NCUA so you save time and money, visit us at marktreichel.com to find out more.
Hey, Mark Treichel here, your host of With Flying Colors. I'm flying solo today, and I wanted to talk about something that both NAFCU and CUtoday.info reported last week. And NAFCU outlined NCUA's spring rulemaking agenda and actually rolled it into the end of the year. And I wanted to highlight a few of the things that NAFCU raised. 4 items were listed on NCUA's proposed spring agenda, although it rolls into December, which is a new interpretation of spring. But the 4 topics are digital assets and related technologies, fintech, access initiatives, and cybersecurity. First, I want to highlight cybersecurity. According to NAFCU, it says that NCUA is reviewing the federal banking agency's November 2021 rulemaking titled Computer Security Incident Notification Requirements for Banking Organizations and their bank service providers, and may issue similar requirements for credit union system later this summer. On that specific topic, I believe what NCUA will likely do is put some rules in place similar to those rules that FDIC approved on cybersecurity as it relates to the specific requirement that kicked off on May 1st. According to payments.com, PYMNTS.com, these new rule will inform agencies of emerging threats of banking organizations and financial systems, including potential systemic cyber events. Under the new rules, banks will be required to notify the FDIC as soon as possible and no later than 36 hours after the bank learns an incident has occurred. The rule defines a computer security incident as an occurrence that results in actual harm to the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of an information system or the information that the system processes, stores, or transmits. For example, banks should only notify incidents that include a major computer system failure, a cyber attack, a ransomware attack, or another type of operational interruption. The FDIC rule also requires a banking service provider to notify the bank designated point of contact of any computer security incident that is disrupted or degraded or is likely to disrupt or degrade the banking organization for 4 hours or more. So this came from on March 15th, President Joe Biden signed into law the Cyber Incident Reporting Act for Critical Infrastructure Act of 2022, which created new rules requiring U.S. critical infrastructure entities, including financial services, energy, defense, industrial bases, and federal agencies to report cybersecurity incidents within 72 hours of the incident and within 24 hours if a ransomware payment was made. All right, it's my anticipation that what NAFCU is reporting on cybersecurity relative to NCUA is the items that I just mentioned here, and it's going to bring NCUA up to speed on these requirements and up to speed with where FDIC is coming. And if you listen to one of my recent podcasts, Todd Harper recently at the most recent NCUA board meeting mentioned that a cybersecurity rule was going to be coming soon. And soon meaning, I believe he actually referenced the July board meeting. It's my expectation that at the NCUA's July board meeting that they will address this with a proposed rule on cybersecurity. And if you're wondering what will be in it, it will probably closely mirror what FDIC is now requiring of banks. At that July board meeting, NCUA used to do a July board meeting revision of the budget. If they don't actually take a vote on a budget, they will likely do a briefing on a budget, and you can watch for that in July. And that could lead to some statements by the board members that will telegraph where the budget could go in 2023. I've previously reported that I believe that that board member Harper wants to expand a large credit union program, and he also wants to enhance consumer compliance in many areas, and his public statements are consistent with that. So maybe at the July meeting, there'll be some language that links to that. On the Access Initiative topic, according to NAFCU, that's scheduled for September 2022. NAFCU reports the NCUA board is considering the issuance of a proposed rule to amend its chartering and field of membership regulations that would remove outdated requirements, simplify the charter approval process, and clarify regulatory languages. And NAFCU reports that they've been a strong proponent of such amendments. And I can confirm that while I was at NCUA, they were a very strong proponent of such amendments. It'll be interesting to see what actually comes of this. In the end, I know ultimately everybody in the world seems to consider their branch office of whatever financial institution they use as their primary financial institution. It's their phone these days, and brick and mortar are going away. And to me, if NCUA is ever going to bridge the gap of allowing a phone to serve as a branch office, I know that there's some that believe the Federal Credit Union Act doesn't allow that, but I would hope that eventually, either with a fix to the Federal Credit Union Act or a fixed regulation, that credit unions will be able to count phones as branch offices. Of course, the ABA and bankers probably won't like that. Another item that I mentioned that the newsroom of NAFCU reported was on fintech, and NAFCU's indicated a fintech proposed rule that Board Member Hood has been championing to provide more flexibility for a credit union to take advantage of advanced technologies and opportunities offered by the fintech sector has been scheduled for September of 2022. And NAFCU has urged regulators to ensure a level playing field between credit unions and fintechs. I can tell you that Board Member Hood is a champion of the fintech arena, as is Board Member Hauptman, and I believe additionally, Board Member Harper would likely want to bring credit unions forward in this fintech arena. And the fact that they're talking about this possibly being on the agenda in September, I think is very good for credit unions. It'll be interesting to see what actually comes out in this proposal and if it's robust enough to help credit unions in the short and long term. But progress indeed. Digital assets and related technologies. NCUA recently came out with a letter to credit unions on that topic, indicating that it's in and of itself that those technologies and those digital assets can be, if structured appropriately, can be viewed as consistent with the Federal Credit Union Act and NCUA's rules. But it looks like they may flesh that out a little bit more. According to NAFCU, they say this is scheduled for December 2022 and that NCUA will propose a final rule on decentralized finance and digital assets as they relate to the credit union industry. The agency will consider both the comments and the request for information and the recent executive order in evaluating what, if any, proposals should be forthcoming. NAFCU's Digital Assets Working Group meets regularly to discuss digital asset updates. Good reporting here from NAFCU on some things that NCUA may be doing to help credit unions down the road. CU Today also followed up on that and quoted some of the things that NAFCU pointed to. So NAFCU has a good source here somewhere pointing out where NCUA may be heading over the next few months. And that's it. That's all I have with this quick take flying solo edition of With Flying Colors. I appreciate you listening, and watch for weekly episodes of With Flying Colors on your favorite podcast provider. Thanks again for your time. This is Mark Treichel with Flying Colors.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of With Flying Colors. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app to hear future episodes where subject matter experts of all varieties will provide tips on how to achieve success with NCUA. If you would like to learn more about how we assist credit unions, check out our services at marktreichel.com.